Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at our urban worm bag that has the African Nightcrawlers in it. Now, it's been about 1 month since we last did an update where we saw a whole lot of mold all over the top of the system. We buried all that in, we kind of sprayed it down, we added some food, or actually I should say a whole lot of food. I hope that sort of heated up. When I checked the temperatures during the week, it did heat up a little bit, but it's been a month now, it should have cooled down. Hopefully the warmer temperatures in my area are affecting the bin a little bit, hopefully keeping it a little bit warmer. And hopefully we can go in there and see what's going on and see some worms that are surviving and moving forward. There were definitely African Nightcrawlers in there the last time we checked. They didn't look very healthy, they were very lethargic, but that wasn't surprising due to the low temperatures being around 62, 64 degrees. They really prefer that 80-degree range. And it's really hard for me to get that at times unless I add in that food, and that frozen food is usually what I'm adding, unfortunately. But I need that sort of hot composting process to take over the system. So with that, let's take a look at the system, see how it's doing. I'm going to wear a mask when we open it up. I haven't opened it since the last time we opened it. So there could be mold in there again, but I'm going to have that mask on. And we're going to just take a look and see how the system is doing and probably add more food and more stuff from my Vitamix so that way it can break down and hopefully heat up the system a little bit more. So with that, let's take a look and see how it's doing. All right, here we go. Here's our urban worm bag. As I said, I am wearing a mask this time just in case there's mold in there again. I haven't really opened it up to check. So let's take a look and see how this is doing. All right, very dry on the top here. And actually the material on here looks very dry as well. Maybe a little bit of moisture left in there. Let's go ahead and dig here in the center section. That's right, I did add, I forgot about that. I had added some pine shavings to this as well, just to add some texture. Let's just sort of dig though in the center sections where we added all the food. Seeing lots of millipedes, which is not surprising. All right, now we're starting to get into the food. This is all a little bit damp in here, so that's a good sign. We need that moisture content. I'm just trying to see if I find any worms. Nope, I think I found a worm right here. Couple worms, all right, and they look like they're moving a little bit. So they're moving a little bit. It looks like they're alive. They're still sluggish. I don't know what the temperature is, but it doesn't feel very warm in here. Oh, another worm. So look at that, they're coming to the center section to kind of eat. And they're starting to take advantage of the food that's here. Well, I have a lot of millipedes in here though too with them. That's one thing I noticed about the system is it was breeding millipedes like crazy. I mean, look at this. Look at all the millipedes on there. And there's just, they seem to have really taken over the system. These aren't bad. They're composters. They break things down. They help the worms, but there's a lot in here. And again, some more worms in here as well. So it looks like the worms are coming back. They're getting to this center section where the food was. Oh, this one looks like a, oh, no, maybe not. I was going to say this one looked like a big one, but it wasn't. It was still kind of small, scrawny for African Nightcrawlers. But again, this system is kind of cold, so they like the warmer temperatures. I'm just moving stuff out of the way right now just so we can kind of dig in a little bit again. Another decent sized worm in there. All right. Now with that, we're going to continue to bury food in here. We're not going to add it to the top. We're going to bury it down in here pretty deep because I think this works best with how the system is doing. And again, a couple more worms over here that I just grabbed. Again, these all look pretty healthy. They're starting to move around a little bit. Now, before we add this food, I want to show you here. Before I add the food. Just going to chip away at the side a little bit, and I want to show you this material here. Look at this beautiful compost material. This is really what you're looking for out of a system. I mean, this is just beautiful material. Just flakes apart in my hand. It doesn't really, sticks a little bit, but I can wipe it away. It's that perfect texture and consistency. And you can see the difference compared to the other material around it. But that's what's on the side here, it looks like, is this great compost material. So it's starting to move around, but we're going to still, again, we're going to fill up the middle section here, do what we did last time. I'm just trying to shovel some of this out. Now, I'm not going to add nearly as much frozen food as I did last time. There we go. You can see this is kind of like built kind of hard in here now. Feels a little bit compacted, but that's okay. All right, we're going to add some of our Vitamix output. Now, I add this because I do find that this heats up when it gets wet. And I'm just using a makeshift container here to hold it as we sprinkle this around in here. This stuff breaks down pretty quickly. It's going to heat up. It's a mixture of foods. There's just not a lot of moisture in it. So it can kind of absorb that moisture that's in there, although we don't really want it since it's a little bit light on moisture. So now we're going to spray that down and mix it around. So I've got my sprayer right here. And I do like having this electric sprayer. It just makes it so much easier than the old one I used to have. That thing's... There we go. I don't know why that was so mixed. We're just going to kind of mix this up and just wet it down. Wet the surface. Mix it up a little bit. Wet the surface again. This stuff can absorb a lot of water because it's dehydrated. And hopefully this will heat up quite a bit. And give these worms somewhere to go to get some food, but at the same time also a little bit of heat. So I think it's pretty good. I think my sprayer might be getting a little low on water too. It's vibrating a lot. It is. It's starting to get a little low. So we can add some water in some other ways too. I do have, actually we're going to add a scoop of this here. So hold on a second. We've got some water here that's black. This actually has charcoal that's ground up and dissolved, and the water itself is actually from a fish tank, so it's nice and nutrient rich. It should make a good food source for the worms. Now, the last piece of food that I'm going to add here is something that's not quite as, I'm not adding a whole lot of really heavy stuff this time like I did in the past. I'm going to add some lettuce here. This is romaine lettuce that went bad. And we're just going to break this apart a little bit, and this will hopefully break down and give them something to eat. Just trying to go through all the stuff that's in my freezer that I've had for quite a while now. And then what we're going to do on top of that is, let me grab the paper here. So I've got some wet paper to add on top of this. This is the normal way that I add wet paper. I've got it in a container right here, already pre-soaked. Just going to add a little bit of that on top, just to kind of bury everything in there. And I don't want to, I'm not going to cover it up fully at this moment. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and move some of this stuff back around the food source there. You can see we've got a lot of paper and stuff on top to begin with. And then what I want to do here is actually add some more of our carbon water here, our charcoal water, on top here. And I'm going to just sprinkle this all over here. Now this already has, as I said, nutrients in it from a fish tank. So this might actually also give the worms something to kind of eat as well, because I know that worms can survive in aquaponic systems eating the fish waste and things like that. So that should already have some nutrients in it. And now we're going to cover this with the rest of our paper from our little thing here. Pre-soaked paper. Get a little bit of the water coming out. But I want to cover it with the paper at the end here for two reasons. One, the paper is going to be the first thing that dries out. This doesn't really have much in it. It's just water and paper. So it kind of gives a layer for all that stuff to sort of go. But also I'm hoping that this will kind of tap down on any mold that might grow in the system as well. Now, with that, the big thing that I'm hoping for is that we get some heat down in the system. The heat helps the worms kind of move forward through the system. They can get up to the surface here to dry out once this dries out a little bit if they need to, or they can dive down to go get more moisture. So with that, I think we're ready to close this system up and let it sit for a little bit longer and see how the worms do. They are coming back. We're getting into the springtime here in Maryland where I live, and hopefully these are going to come back pretty strong over the summer. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and let me know. Thank you for watching.